Alright, so we got the next OCG Duelist pack information, and it's the end of the legendary Duelist era. It is now Duelist pack Duelist of Gloom out there. Duelist pack is getting renewed with a new format. This time, the pack will contain cards used by 3 duelists from the anime and manga who use dark monsters. It will also include cards for these duelists, as well as reprints of versatile generic cards to help build your deck. Now, they do say that use dark monsters, and specifically in the translation, it's mentioned of darkness. Now, what I'm actually hoping for here is we get more support for my boy Night Shroud, or the Darkness, from the Japanese version of the manga. I actually want to talk about Darkness's cards, because Darkness had a really cool theme going on with his deck, and it's about time that we finally get some information on Night Shroud, because he's been so lacking and so in the shadows of the whole Yu-Gi-Oh anime, considering he was, the final boss next to Yugi. For GX, it was literally Night Shroud and then Yugi. But, I mean, who really cares? So, things that we could actually get for the... Okay, so first up, Darkness is an archetype of cards used by Night Shroud, whose own Japanese name is also Darkness. So Darkness uses Darkness. It revolves around the Darkness Field spell, in swarming monsters with Dark Necro Slime and recovering the controller's life points. So far, the only Darkness monsters used by Dark Shroud who have been released in the TCG and OCG are Darkness Destroyer, Darkness Neosphere, Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, and Red Eyes Darkness Flare Metal Dragon, although other cards can be supported by anime-only archetype. So, Darkness! So, when you activate this card, destroy all cards in your spell and trap card zones, and then set 1/0 Infinity Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3 at random from your deck. And hand, by the way. And you can look at these face-down cards. During each end phase, set all spells and traps you control randomly and rearrange all cards in your spell and trap card zone. If a spell or trap card you control is removed from the field, destroy all spells and trap cards that you control. So, we're actually going to start here with the ever so beautiful 0. So, if you control a face-up Darkness, apply the appropriate effect. If you do not control a face-up Infinity, activate one set card in your spell and trap card zone. If you control a face-up Infinity, activate all spells and traps that you control between this card and Infinity. So basically, the whole gimmick of this deck was you have 0 and Infinity, and then you want those to be on the edges as you rearrange them and shuffle them. And then you want to be able to resolve your Darkness 1, 2, and 3 to gain the appropriate effects based on that. Now, Infinity, if you control face-up Darkness, apply the appropriate effect. If you do not control face-up 0, activate one set card in your spell and trap card zone. If you control face-up 0, activate all set spells and trap cards between this card and 0. So once again, you have this gimmick where you're going to keep rearranging your spells and traps, and then you're going to set up for this ever so cool thing. Alright, Darkness 1. Alright, so this is one of the many cards that you're going to want here. So if this is the first card activated when Infinity and 0 is activated, it gains the following effect. Destroy one card your opponent controls, and then destroy one card your opponent controls for each face-up Darkness continuous trap card on your field. So basically, if 0 and Infinity go and trigger, and then they go to trigger Darkness 1, you get the ability to destroy one card your opponent controls, and then you can destroy one card your opponent controls for each face-up Darkness continuous activated after this card. So you basically get an additional pop on resolution of these, which is pretty okay. Quite honestly, speaking for the gimmick, that's not terrible. Alright, Darkness 2. If this is the first card activated when Infinity and 0 is activated, it gains the following effect. Hence if we activate them simultaneously, oh well, yeah. So select one face-up monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. And then one face-up monster you control gains 1,000 attack for each darkness continuous trap card activated after this card resolves until the end phase. So it's not a permanent boost, but yes, you basically get a huge attack boost off of just being like chain. Alright? And then we got Darkness 3. So if this is the first set card activated when Infinity and Zero activated, it gains the following effect. Inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Then inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent for each Darkness trap card activated after this card resolves. So, you get a huge attack boost. You get a double destruction effect. And you get this crazy cool... I'm going to go ahead and ping my opponent for, attack boost, damage, and destruction. Everything that you could want wrapped into a simple mechanic, alright? Now that being said, we also have our entire archetype of monsters here. Darkness Bramble. So once per turn during either player's turn, you can look at all spells and trap cards you control, ignoring the effect of darkness. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, and during the end phase, if you have less than 4,000 life points, your life points become 4,000. It's a level 6 plant, by the way, that I can lone fire into in my gimmick deck. Alright, this is pretty cool. And then we got Darkness Destroyer. This card cannot be special summoned. This card can attack twice during each battle phase. And during battle phase in which this card attacks a defense position monster, you get trample damage on your opponent. Okay, so we get a little bit more of a boost here. We've already basically seen this card. I believe that this one already actually exists in the TCG. Then we got Darkness Eye. Ooh. So once per turn during either player's turn, you can look at all sets, spells, and trap cards you control, ignoring the effect of darkness. If this card is in face-up attack position during your standby phase, you can normal summon one monster, now attributing. Hey, remember that big fat plant that's level 6 that we just reviewed? You can go ahead and you can roll that on out. Thank you, Darkness Eye. Then we get into the fun stuff here. So Darkness Half. Select one monster you control with the highest attack. Special summon 2 dark tokens. Fiend Dark type level 3, 1,000 attack, 1,000 attack, or defense, and attack position to your opponent's side of the field. Half the original attack of the selected monster. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that monster. When the monster is removed from the field, destroy this card. Basically, we just get to half and set up some tokens on the opponent's field. Overall, this card's not that bonkers. Darkness Necroslime. You can send this face-up card to the graveyard. Select one Darkness monster in your graveyard, except for Darkness Necroslime, and Monster Reborn it back to the field. Okay, well, revival effects are always good in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? Like, we love these things. Darkness Neosphere. Alright, well, we've seen this thing. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can look at all spells and trap cards you control, ignoring the effect of darkness. Once per turn, you can set all face-up spell and trap cards on either side of the field, face down, and rearrange all spell and trap cards on the field. Once per turn, you can flip a face-up spell and trap card face down. If your life points are less than 4,000, your life points become 4,000. Alright, so once again, we're loving that life point reset mechanic here. They're probably going to let this remain at 4,000. It's fun. Darkness Outsider. You can discard one card, special summon one monster from your opponent's deck to your side of the field, and then shuffle this card into your opponent's deck. They're never going to allow this card to be legal. This card is absurd. Darkness Rancor. If your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand and one face-up Darkness Babel you control to the graveyard. So summon one Darkness Neosphere from your deck. Darkness Neosphere was this deck's boss monster, if I actually recall correctly. Darkness Seed. If this card is sent to the graveyard, and activate its effect. If you do special summon it during your second standby phase after activation. This card is special summoned by this way, it gains these effects. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. During either player's end phase, if your life points are less than 4,000, your life points become 4,000. That gimmick of 4K life is really good. And then we got Darkness Slime. If the total attack of all face-up monsters you control is 0, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up defense mode. When this card is special summoned, this way you can select one face monster opponent controls. This card's attack becomes equal to that monster's defense, and its defense becomes equal to that monster's attack. Ooh, it's an inverse selection. It's kind of cool. So, darkness is a relatively fun concept. I honestly think that in terms of gimmick, that this has a potential to do something. But you know, who's not to say that this might not be what we're actually getting? We'll see. But darkness. So guys, what do you think? Please leave a comment down below to me what you guys think. And well, I'm out, guys. The ride never truly ends. Thank you, patrons, for helping support the channel. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. And for those of you that like Cardfight Vanguard, FanCool40 is here for all your content needs. And those of you asking if I sell cards, mcoolgames.com for all your trading card game needs. Check the description for more interesting info. Thanks for watching, guys.